And on that point, the Swift badges is 4 additional kind of coding modules within the Apple Teacher, I think. So you've got your 8 kind of normal ones, and then it's those 4 additional ones if you want that wee extra bit for Swift. Um, and yes, as I said, 4 modules, pretty straight. So on the iPads as well, some other ones and also some web ones. And I would say that Swift is slightly more difficult for younger children. In fact, certainly wouldn't be doing it with my primary ones, but you can create a pathway for learning within your own schools to work towards going on to Swift and going on to the Swift Playground app. Certainly that starts with Scratch Junior. You've got Tinkler in there and the website code.org, which has really, really simple levels of differentiation between the different things you can do for coding, and doing them alone leads you to what I would classify as being the more difficult levels of computational thinking and computing science, which are Swift, because it is a wee bit more difficult. If you're not familiar with Barefoot, and again, this is just helping you launch into it, and I know today's about Apple badges and getting Swift, but if you want to then take that professional learning opportunity of getting the Swift badge and then turn it into what you would use in classroom, then the Barefoot posters and the Barefoot resources that are available online are really, really easy, because that gives you all the terminology about all the things you would do for logic evaluation, algorithms, patterns, decomposition, tinkering, creating, debugging, persevering, collaboration, all sorts of skills they use, not just in computing science and coding, but they use these throughout the curriculum. They use it to write recipes, they use it to solve problems within games, to create routines in gymnastics, how to paint different layers within a picture. There's lots of different areas of the curriculum where computational thinking and these subject knowledge concepts and these skills and behaviours for approaches can be used. So it's not just to do with computing science and coding. Computational thinking can be used right across the curriculum, all the way down to shortening your spelling words into different sounds. So a really useful resource again, Barefoot. You've obviously got these O's. And we've got to come back to the frameworks for digital learning and computing science as well. They're there at the bottom. This is just second level. It's understanding the world through computational thinking, and that's what you must always think about. That's why I've showed the picture for Barefoot. That certainly helped me in my teaching journey and also my school as I led the digital literacy and computing aspects within the school improvement plan. Understanding through computational thinking allows you to understand and analyse how that's used within the computing technology, or machines, or robots, or drones, or computing websites, or anything at all, because you understand it. And then the bottom one there, design and build and test computer solutions. Because you've got those other 2 foundations, you can then begin to build solutions. And again, go back to my own point of view, and also with the children, a lot of the time they'll say, I'm stuck, I don't know how to do this immediately, unless they understand what computational thinking is and how it works and how abstraction and decomposition and tinkering can be used. And then they've got to think about, well, what is it? Is it a computer program I'm trying to solve? Am I trying to make something move? Am I trying to make something turn on? Am I trying to make something hot? Am I trying to make something cold? That's understanding how that computational thinking is feeding into the computing technology, and then you can begin to design the kind of solution for it. So I don't want to speak any much more. I'm going to skip forward and then just really talk about why it's important. As you can see there's been 159% growth in computer programming subsectors, consultancy based, and that's in the last 9 years. And then now it's the third biggest contribution to Scotland's economy, digital technologies, and part of that is coding. So anything that you do for yourself that you can then disseminate to your young people is definitely going to work. So let's get on with Swift. Is that okay so far, Laura? Any questions? So I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to start sharing this because I'm on a Mac and I'm going to go to my iPad. It's a learning day for everybody. Right, okay, so go into my kind of home screen. Hopefully you can see that. It's just coming. There's a bit of a delay. Yep. Cool. So I've always found it an issue actually just downloading Swift. It's a massive app within apps, and you've got to download the app as it sits here. And then there's like the modules, and there's different levels. You can go as far as you want with it. You can actually go from just tinkering about with it yourself to figure out if you just want your Apple badge. But like I said, if you're doing that professional learning opportunity, you can begin to use it next year for some sort of remote and blended learning opportunity. But it goes all the way up to app development, and if you've got primary ones, they're probably not going to be developing apps using code, but they can certainly begin to think about solving those problems and solving those solutions using an app, because lots of them will use apps, but maybe it was in the highest BGE and into secondary school, you might have some really, really clever kids who know all about app development and stuff like that, and Swift will help that. You've got the books within the bookstore, and again, I don't know if there's still an issue with downloading books within Glasgow because I've been away for a wee while. But if you can, the Learnable Code 1 and 2 are a bit like how to use Keynote and how to use GarageBand, and they're just the kind of normal guides, and they're worth having a look at as you're doing the Apple Teacher badge for Swift, and it gives you all the kind of step-by-step guides. There's things you can download. So you've got the books and the apps, but I'm just going to go into the app now to give you a kind of overview for that for Playgrounds. So as you can see here, this Learn to Code, there it is, it's come up now. You have to download, and that takes a wee while, but you've got shape development here. You can do graphing, there's Learn to Code 2, there's Blues Adventure, there's Hello Byte, and that's the little guy we're going to look at today. So there's lots of different options here, and there's lots of differentiation between them. But as I say, you may not use Swift Playgrounds, probably not, away down in primary 1 and 2 because you're about to see, but think about differentiation for pupils, particularly those that are showing really, really high skills. And are probably ready to go beyond a visual programming language, as this is a wee bit, to an actual language-based program where they can begin to use actual words and codes, and Swift does that because it's not all block code. So I will go into Learn Code now. And again, like Laura's there, so if you get any questions at all, just put them in there. So I'm just going to go back because I was playing about this earlier. You get to the introduction, and the first thing is to learn codes 1, and it'll take you through this. This is the badge, not the badge itself. This is showing you how the app works, but you do the app via the badge, and it's 1 of 8, and it's all about commands. Have you ever followed a recipe to bake something delicious? Well, that's just following commands. Brushing your teeth, tying your shoelace, line up, stand up, push your desk in, push your chair in, get your bag. Children are really, really good at following commands in school. What they don't realise immediately if you go and do computing science is that they are so good. They just take it literally that they follow instructions. So if you do decide beyond doing the badge yourself, they're really, really good at following instructions and breaking them down into part because they have to follow so many in a day. Not everyone, the ones you've got to tell 2 or 3 times, but they are very good at following instructions. It goes on and tells you if you followed instructions to assemble something cool, again, you're following commands. You need to follow instructions in the correct order or you'll end up with something unexpected. And anyone who's built anything from McKean and thought, I'll just fire ahead, this is dead simple, I don't need these bits, you get to the end and something's upside down the wrong way around, you've got spare parts, so the kind of normal example of the IKEA furniture. So writing code allows you to create your own set of instructions for your device to carry out, and that's really important that computers aren't intelligent. iPads aren't intelligent. You're the intelligent one. You're the one who's doing all the instructions, and it will follow your instructions to a T. If you tell it the wrong thing, it will do the thing that you don't expect it to do because you've written it. But it will do exactly what you've told it to do. So there will be an error in your code if you have done something wrong. Your goal is always to figure out which instructions in which order will result in something great. And the Swift app, and if you're sitting here thinking, oh, I am not keen on computing science and this visual programming or using wee bits of language or anything, then this is it, because it steps you through really, really straightforward. Swift is dead easy to do, and as I said, I avoided the GarageBand one because I'm not musical when I went to do my Apple badges, but actually I found it was quite straightforward, and I was put it off to the last one because I was daunted by it. And I found it easier than I thought I would, and I found the Keynote the most difficult one. So you basically begin by writing codes, and here you get dead simple, move forward, parenthesis, and it needs parenthesis like we need a full stop, so it just knows that everything within those brackets it reads as to do. So you'll start by writing commands to move a character named Byte around the puzzle world performing tasks. And again, this is about teaching and doing it yourself, but if you did it with your older pupils within primary school, or your children within young people within secondary school, they do like Byte. It's quite a kind of aesthetically pleasing app to work with, and they do get quite a kind of connected to Byte and him being successful, or her being successful. So move forward, and here it is, collect a gem. So very, very straightforward. Notice the matched up words together. Code is punctuated in space like human languages, but commands have no spaces between words. So you have no spaces, and that's one thing that you might find you do. If you put a space and it doesn't run, always make sure you don't have spaces between instructions. It doesn't understand that. Anyone who remembers the very, very early editions of Google, I believe that they did not like spaces, and they thought the space was just the end of the sentence, so it wouldn't search for things if you put, but now you can because it recognises that. Commands always end in parenthesis, and you'll see why later. So start coding, and this is it. It just basically takes you through a series of what you can do. It's got the X at the top here to shut things down. This is for your table of contents, so you can see all the things that you've done. You've got your little plus button, which gives you shortcuts for code, a bit like predictive text. So as you move through it, you don't need to write out full sentences. You can just add these. You've got your three little dots, which give you some extra things. Playground help's really good. It's got some documentation. If you want to create PDFs for yourself or your pupils, you can. You can take pictures and put them into other things like Keynote. So there's a few different things here you can do it. You've got the sound at the top. If the sound begins to do your head in, you've got the little sound icon here. You can do background music, turn it off, or sound effects, depends what you like. You've got the speed here. If you want to run it faster, it does get a bit repetitive when you begin to figure your code out and you understand and it's dead straightforward. You can just speed it through. If you've got problems with code and you know the first bit's okay and the end bit's okay, but the middle bit's looking a bit rubbish, you can step through the code. And what it does is literally steps through each line really slowly, highlights which line it's on, and then you'll see where the error is because it'll go in the wrong direction or it'll do something you don't want to do. So stepping through when you've got problems and you want to use decomposition and you want to break parts of the code into parts, stepping through the code is really good. So basically, go back here, get rid of that. You're in your kind of code here, and I've already written this. And you can see I've got move forward, collect gem. And the reason that's done is because there's three little boxes here at byte. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. So you've just got to remember that. You can see the grid a wee bit better around here. So you've got move forward. Again, lots of people write move forward once and expect it to move forward 3 times to the gem, but it works in grids. So it works in boxes. The same way if you got the Bebop mat out or anything, children are very familiar, and you guys will be familiar with these kind of instructions and these grid-like layouts, and that's what the Swift Playground's looking for. And then at the end you want it to collect the gem, so I've got the collect the gem, so I'm just going to zoom out and I'll run my code, and then you'll see it move forward, and it's moved forward and it's collecting the gem. Congratulations, you've written your very first line of code. Byte performed the commands you wrote and did exactly what you asked in exactly the order that you specified. So really straightforward. You go on to the next page, and then again, similar format. You've got your text here, and it begins to tell you this puzzle. It gives you talking about turn left, and again, as you can see, I've got move forward, this time turn left, move forward, and then collect gems. So I'm just going to run through that. Here we go. Dead simple. So that's where the kind of speed option comes in there. As you notice it, you maybe want to run it faster. You might want to make it go super fast, and it shows you that as well, because you're becoming very familiar with it, and the levels get really repetitive. Anyone that's done one of these kind of app-based coding projects or use one of the websites, you'll know that it's not big massive jumps from the next level to the next. It's very small things, and as you can see there, it was only turning left with this one. If you did have an issue, a problem, that's where you can use the step through my code, and if I go step through my code, there you can go. The little grey box pops up and it shows you now over here how it's stepped through, and anybody that does coding with their kids and they've got different parts or loops or if statements, will know that they tend to have a problem with one part but not the all, so they don't need to delete everything, they just need to deal with the bit they're not sure about, and the barefoot resources help you with that. So if I just go to the next one, which is this one, and show you really how you write the code. Down there it's saying tap to enter, so I can begin to enter my code. You can move byte around and get it to where you want to, depending if you're a visual learner like me. So I can actually see how many boxes I've got to move it forward, and then how I've got to turn. So you can swivel this round. If you're one of the people who needs to, like me, put your head upside down when you're trying to figure out what's your left and your right when you've got a mirrored kind of image on a piece of paper. Spinning this little world around helps. So let's go tap to enter. As soon as you tap to enter, you'll notice down the bottom there you get shortcuts. So you can type in if you really want to, but Swift and Apple have helped you along the way there to put them in. So it's going to be, oops, move forward. I'm just tapping these and they go in. Then I've got to turn left, and I've got to move forward. I've got to collect gem. I've got to move forward. I've got to turn left. I've got to move forward, and I've got to toggle switch, I think. So I'm going to run my code. Here we go. So I've got an issue. I've also got, you might have noticed it, I've got the little hint option there. It pops in. Before you toggle the switch, move byte to the switch tile at the top of the second stairway. So it's kind of giving me a little hint there. Gives me more of the code, because you can see we're beginning to move away from the visual programming languages, which are held within Scratch and code.org, and now we're actually getting towards typing actual code. If you want to go back, you can delete things, and also if you want to return down lines, you can as well by pressing the arrow. So different things. So I need to go back. I need to get rid of my toggle switch. So I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to add in one move forward and then toggle switch. And this time, because I had an error there, I'm going to step through my code. Goes back to the start, and here we go. And I'm watching my step through. And there we go. So I'm just going to stop sharing this screen and come back to my Mac and show you kind of Apple Teacher and how that fits in. So go here, back to home. Teams. There we go. You see that okay, Laura? It was just quite a delay between my iPad and my Mac. Apologies. Um, I didn't go right into Apple Teacher there because obviously if you've done any of your Apple Teacher badges that you need to have a wee bit of experience about what's going on, and particularly if you're not comfortable with coding or computational thinking or computing science, I would do the kind of little modules there first on the actual Playground Swift Playground app itself before you launch into the questions about Apple Teacher, which are pretty straightforward. They're pretty much the same as you get for Pages with iPads, Keynote with iPads, and Numbers for iPads. It's just the same thing, and they ask you the questions. But because it's kind of coding and it can be a bit of a kind of foreign language, well, that's the way I think of it as. It's like me trying to speak French, even though I've got a kind of computing background. I preferred to do the modules first before I went straight into questions. And I also read through the books a wee bit and tried some of the things in there. And when I felt confident enough, I just went straight to the Apple Teacher login here and began to do the little badges. So I think that's pretty much me, Laura. Do you want me to go over anything else? No worries, and I appreciate that I'm not showing a great deal and it's 25 past, but actually there's not much to show because you just keep working through levels as you would in any kind of computer game. So it's not like Keynote where you can begin to do lots and lots and lots on kind of one page. You just you come, as I say, you go through to the next level and it's like turn left, and then it's the next level and it's turn right, and then the next level it's turn left and right and jump. So it's really really small steps. The only way to do that is to actually go through it. So it's not like big extensive lots and lots of different formats and features like Keynote. You just keep solving little levels like a game.